right, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call the Mandan Public School District to order. It's Tuesday, September 5th at 7 p.m. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda that we need to make? I want to make? Seeing none, what's the wishes of the board?
I move to approve the agenda.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second? We have a second by Mr. Hagen. Any discussion? Not seeing any. Ms. Silva, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Next item on the agenda is public communications. Is there anybody in the audience who wish to address the board on anything on the agenda? Seeing nobody stepping up to the plate, we'll move on to the administrator's report. First item on the administrator's report is the mill levy update. Mr. Legacy.
Yeah, good evening. Just wanted to put this in your packet. We approved our preliminary mill levies in early August and had a few changes that I wanted to make you aware of before our budget hearing in 2 weeks. The first one is the biggest one in our sinking and interest. On our preliminary mill levy, I had levied about 39 mills. We had our updated payment schedule for our new debt. I got that lowered it a little bit, and I'll be honest, I found an error in my Excel sheet. It didn't update our taxable valuation properly, so that lowered that sinking and interest to reflect the new taxable valuation for this year. So that was a significant reduction on our voter-approved debt. So I want to run through these again real quick so we have an idea. Last year, our total mills were 130.15. This year, at our budget hearing, I'll be recommending 127.15. That's 60 mills in our general fund. Again, that's set by the state. That's what we have to levy. That's reduced from our state aid payment. Our miscellaneous fund will levy 12 mills. That is the max we can levy out of our miscellaneous fund. We can use that to kind of supplement our general fund, and we do to kind of help offset our deficit for next year. Our special assessments levy 2.75. We are working on some estimates for costs for next year yet. We have not seen our final bills or when we're going to get paid for the streets at the high school yet. I believe those payments are going to be on our special assessments, but I have not seen that information yet. So we're going to keep that at 2.75. I think that's going to be close to our payments this year, but next year when we're having this discussion, we might see a small bump there. So I just want you to keep that in the back of your mind.
Mr. Legacy, if I can ask you a question real quick there. Let's say we leave it at the 2.75 and our special assessment payments come in higher than that. We have a little bit of a balance to cover those?
We do, yes. Okay. We actually had a special assessment bond that we paid off this year that we levied about 1.6 mills for. I'm leaving that in to kind of give us that cushion to make sure that we don't have a $300,000 shortfall.
Okay. I just don't want to end up in a situation where we don't have any funds there. So.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Our building fund, we levy 18 mills. That was voter approved in 1973, I believe, is to cap that at 18 mills. Again, we use that for our long-term projects. We have debt that comes out of our building fund, and this is all of our capital maintenance. And then sinking in interest is our voter approved debt at 34.4 mills for next year. So overall, I know the tax statements went out. Those reflected our total mill levy 130.15. So the school's portion will actually go down slightly when our actual tax statements get out. So
it's good news.
Yeah. Any questions at all?
Questions, anybody? And we'll have another shot at this when we have our budget hearing, which is coming up on September 18th.
We will, yes. Yep.
All right. And I just throw that out there so people are aware of what day it is. All right, then we'll move on to the enrollment update. Dr. Betts.
And I have a handout in front of you, and this is as of tomorrow. What I did is I compared the Wednesday after Labor Day, what we'll start with. The top half of the page is from 2022. The bottom half of the page is from 2023. If you look on the handout, District School MPS 1, that's highlighted in orange. Those are our homeschool students, our students at Ann Carlson, our student at Dakota Boys and Girls Ranch. There's a few students that we serve that are Christ the King and St. Joe's who get special services from us. We do not get paid on those students, so I don't count those in our enrollment. The state requires us to keep them in Power School, but we do not get paid on those students. So if you look over on the side, our total enrollment on the bottom, I take our total enrollment minus the district school or district MPS 1, and you can see that last year we had 4,314 students. This year it's 4,402 students. So it's a net increase of 88 students, or about 2%, which is really nice growth. That's very manageable for us. Couple of other numbers that I'll draw your attention to. Our kindergarten class, you can see under K, last year we had 361 kindergartners, of which we educated 351. This year we educate 323, so we are down about 28 kindergartners. I'm not sure why. That's a significant number to be off. I'm still thinking we're going to see some of those register throughout the year. I know since the school year started, we've picked up about 5 or 6 kindergartners, and I think we'll continue to get a few of those. Our virtual...
On that respect, and I know you've had some conversations with Bismarck, they still seeing a reduction also?
They are, and I actually got an email from West Fargo superintendent, or excuse me, a text from the West Fargo superintendent saying their kindergarten class was down almost 10%, and she was wondering if we were seeing the same.
So it's probably a symptom of something that happened 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is, but yes.
Okay.
If you look at the green numbers, you can see that last year we had 63 students enrolled in our virtual academy. This year it's 79, so we're up a few students there. Brave Center Academy in yellow, last year we had 45, this year we have 55. So just people taking advantage of different options for their education. And then overall in the high school, we're up 9 students, and the middle school is up 19 students. I don't know if you have any questions on these, but...
Yeah, and just Lakewood is at 275.
Lakewood, yes, thank you. I was going to point that out. I have that highlighted. We were thinking that was going to open closer to 300. We did have a few families that wanted to stay in Fort Lincoln and in Lewis and Clark, and in Mary Stark, actually, we had a few of them. And if you were able to provide your own transportation, we had let people do that. So.
Okay, well, that's good. Kind of gives them the opportunity to stay where they wanted to.
Yes.
All right. Any questions for Dr. Pitts on this?
I have a question about, I noticed Red Trail went up 70. Is that, did they
It
add
did.
more sections, or what's happening up there?
They did add one section. They are, Red Trail is seeing a huge increase. It's a lot of we assigned north of the interstate around the middle school, that area was assigned to Red Trail. We took it out of Lewis and Clark. We wanted to help empty them out. That area is still probably half and half. A lot of them stayed at Lewis and Clark. But yeah, there's just a lot of our affordable family housing is in that Red Trail area. They're almost identical to what Lewis and Clark was last year with the same number of sections. They're feeling it. I was up there today and I was visiting with Mr. Steckler and some of the staff, and when you add 70 kids to a building, you notice it. And they can feel it in their hallways, and their classrooms are much larger than Lewis and Clark, which makes it nice. You know, they've got that quiet room, but they're still adjusting to, they still have, I believe, one empty classroom up there. If we need to add, we could do that.
And just remind me on our projections we're going to be getting that we paid for earlier, which is probably going to take a while to get, but they're also going to project a little bit based on school location, right?
They are not. We could pay extra for that, and they would do that.
Okay. We have a pretty good idea anyway. But
You know, it's one of those things when you adjust the boundary, sometimes you help some grades and hurt some grades at the same time. There's always consequences to adjusting it. It's hard with students. You know, one of the things that we do is we never transfer a student into a school that's going to make them go over our class size target. But we do allow students to stay in a school when their family moves from one area to another. If a student is doing well and is successful in school and the parents want to transport, you know, we do allow that. And when we approve a transfer, that transfer is in place until the student goes to middle school. There are some districts that make you put in a transfer request every year. I was thinking if that was my child, I wouldn't want to have to go through that. I would want them to be in a school, be able to feel secure, be able to feel comfortable. But
Some certainty.
it does give certainty, but it's also, it does create some class size issues for us when we approve a transfer in second grade and different things happen and now you're getting large and that student is still there. But I think it's what's best for kids.
I have another question then with Fort Lincoln. Are we no longer using the portables?
We are not using the portable.
Are they still there, or are they?
The portable is still there. We thought we had it sold, and that deal fell through in mid-August. So we are not using it. The doors are locked. Our building permit has expired. The city said it can stay there, but we can't use it.
Do we have that listed any place for sale, or is it just mostly, you've talked to other,
I put it on our administrator listserv, so it went out to every school in the state, and then I feel bad because I made a mistake. I didn't get earnest money. I had somebody say, we'll take it. My board voted it. We agreed on it, and then when the cost of moving and everything came up, they backed out, but they didn't back out till August. So we will list that again and try to get it sold.
okay. Any other questions? Thank you for the update on that. Next item is the community open house at Lakewood, September 20th, 2023. Dr. Bitts.
Correct. Would like to invite you all down. We're going to do similar to some of you were on the board when we opened Red Trail in 2014. We're going to have a night similar to that. They're going to unveil the students have voted them on a mascot, and we're going to unveil that evening. I believe we're going to have an ice cream truck there sponsored by Capital Credit Union. We're going to let people go in and visit and walk through the building. So it should be a fun night. 5:30 on Wednesday, September 20th.
And Dr. Bitts, that's open to anybody that wants
It
to.
is. We will be promoting that and pushing that out. We're still finalizing out what the night's going to look like.
Okay. And I noticed there's some of the elderly homes down there have asked to get in and be able to
Yes.
see some of it, so please
Yes.
extend it to some of those too,
We will do that.
because they are our neighbors down there. So,
Absolutely.
any questions on that? All right, then we'll move on to the School Board Association Annual Convention on the 13th. Or the deadline's the 13th.
Correct. It's the 26th and 27th of October. The 26th is the legal seminar and the new member seminar, and the 27th is the school board convention. The deadline is October 13th to register, and if you're interested, please let me know.
Okay. Well, please let them know if you're interested so you can get there. I always find the legal one very enlightening. It's always been a good one. Any questions for that, comments? Please let Mike know, Dr. Bitts know on that. All right, then we'll move the consent agenda, review and consider approval of previous board minutes from August 21st, 2023, accept the Facility and Finance Committee minutes from August 28th, 2023, and accept the Health Insurance Committee minutes from October 31st, 2023. What are the wishes of the board?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Ms. Silva, please call roll.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next item is unfinished business. We have no unfinished business, so we'll move into new business. The first item there is review and consider approval of a motion to make swimming an elective PE credit for the 24-25 school year. Dr. Rederath.
Yes, this really started in a conversation in student achievement last spring, talking about moving into the new high school and what swimming would look like, particularly if we didn't have a pool. At the time, it was still kind of up in the air. You know, since then, we're not going to start with a pool there. And the consensus coming out of student achievement is we'd like to make swimming an elective requirement for PE as a result of that. It would not change our PE credits required to graduate. It would just mean that swimming wouldn't necessarily have to be one of them. And then it would be Mr. Andreessen and his staff who could determine what that would look like. For sure, looking at offering it in the summer. That's just kind of a no-brainer for students to be able to take it in the summer. And then really depending on student interest and volume, how that could look during the school year. There's been talk of maybe blocking it and providing some transportation from the new school down to the pool, but that would just all depend on on student demand and what we're looking at on the swimming front. But we would like to just remove it as a requirement and make it an elective.
Okay. Any questions?
I have a question.
What?
Wasn't it made a requirement, because it isn't a requirement anywhere for some, there was like a historical reason for it.
I'm not sure the historical sense
Well-
of why it was initially required. It is not anywhere required like in state
Okay.
statute or anything like that. It's something that I think was, and rightfully so, where we live near and dear to the community when the pool first opened.
Right.
And I think it's something we would love to revisit if we get a pool at the new school.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Nothing a very large donor wouldn't help with, right?
Right.
All right, any other questions? Just thought I'd throw it out there. Not seeing any. What are the wishes of the board on this one?
I would move to make swimming as an elective at Mandan High School.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second? We have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Ms. Oval, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. The next item on the new business schedule is review and consider approval of RFP for near-site clinics. Mr. Legacy, almost made you a doctor.
We have talked about this RFP at numerous meetings, and we finally have it. So I want to kind of step through that with you real quick and just give you a few highlights. The very first page, our invitation to submit a financial proposal and the evaluation criteria on page 1 and 2. The most important takeaway on this is that all of our bidders will have to work with school administration, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and our consultant, Brown and Brown. They'll be working with Brown and Brown. We are going to lean heavily on their expertise for this because I don't know that anybody on an administration team or health insurance committee could properly evaluate this without their help. Page 3 goes over the timeline. So their RFP will be released after you approve it tonight. We'll run our ads for 3 weeks. We'll get our questionnaire and cost summaries back at the end of September. There is an evaluation period that Brown and Brown is going to take almost a month to kind of complete before they come back to us with finalists. And then if we have appropriate presentations and they meet kind of the needs, we'll make sure those finalists come back to the board. You'll have the opportunity to sit down and ask them questions and make sure that they're meeting the needs of the board. So,
Question for you on the
Yeah.
timeline. If we got to publish this for 3 weeks, and their requirement intent to bid is due to Brown and Singer within a week, how does that work?
so I've already submitted the ad to the legal department at Mandan News, and it's going to run on Friday. So we'll meet the 21-day requirement.
Okay, but back again to my question is you deliver it and they got 3 weeks to be published out there, but they still have to respond with their intent to bid by the 13th. That's a week.
It's going to be a limited pool of bidders on this. I don't know this, but Brown and Brown, I'm sure, has reached out to all of our local medical facilities and to those national companies that are going to bid.
Okay, I just don't want to get crosswise with our,
Yeah,
RFP
the intent
process.
is fine to actually submit, they'll have to till the 29th. So
okay.
I think we're okay. I know we just went through this, I shouldn't say we, West Fargo just went through this with very similar timelines. So,
Okay.
And they have till the 29th to submit.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Any other questions on that timeline? All right. Sorry.
No,
Jeff
and then
there.
with the timeline, when we get finalists back, we are not going to be locked in. If we don't have a proposal that meets our needs, we do not have to approve one. So just making sure that you have that in the back of your head.
Yep. And it is subject to change. It says right in there.
Correct, yes. The next page are background and current programs. This just goes through really very basic demographic information. Brown and Brown will share detailed information on our employee pool with any proposed bidders. So that's very minimal right now. Our scope of services, I do want to make a couple of quick points here. The scope of services is going to reach out and take care of primary and urgent care services as well as laboratory work. And it's written in here that Members enrolled through our plan would have a $25 copay for those services. That is the one comment that we hear in our offices, HR offices, is that our high deductible plan is cost prohibitive. When you go to the doctor, even for an office visit, you have a $170 charge. This would be just a $25 charge for our employees to go to this clinic. I hope we're addressing those concerns by doing this. Again, there's no guarantees that we're going to be able to follow through until we get some proposals back, but I think that will address our employees' concerns. So,
I have a question. Can they use their funds from HSA to pay
yes,
for the copay?
they can
Okay.
still use their HSA funds. The $25 copay is the minimum limit set by IRS guidelines
Okay.
for a near site clinic like this.
And then remind me, I know in the past, we have at some times put funds in the HSA
Yep.
for our employees. Are we still doing that?
We
on
still
an
do
annual
that the
basis?
same as last year, so it's $500 for a single, goes up to $1,000 for a family.
Okay, so that's a few copays.
Yeah, yeah. So I hope we're addressing those concerns. I really do. The IRS did increase our limits. We were a $3,000 plan. IRS set that at $3,200 next year. We have to follow their guidelines, so I'm hoping that this clinic, we can really address those concerns. So,
Mr. Legacy, because we've got a high deductible health plan, they go in and they get the service. How much goes to that deductible? $25?
be
or the
$25.
actual cost? Just the
Just the
$25?
$25,
Okay.
yes. Yep.
Because that's what they're actually paying out of
Correct,
pocket.
yes, yep. Yep. And then the second page of the scope of services gives just a basic rundown of the services that we are looking for. In the future, we can add on to this. I know both in Jamestown and West Fargo who have been through this process, are both looking for chiropractic care as well. If you looked at our health insurance data, we have a large use of chiropractic care. So I'm hoping that as we go through this, that's something we can add on. Mental health services is also potential to future that we can add on. So I think we're setting a good baseline for ourselves, and I think with the ability to expand. So
How long a contract are we looking for with this?
if I remember right, the proposals from West Fargo that I'm kind of basing on had like a 3-year contract on there.
3 with the 3?
I believe so. Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Then the last 2 pages are just the confirmation of eligibility for the bidder to comply with, and then their proposal criteria that they must meet those guidelines. Again, we're going to rely on Brown & Brown to give us the information and to evaluate these for us and make sure we have a quality return on investment. So, are there any questions?
Any questions? Feel free, ask away. It's a good opportunity, I think.
It is. I hope we get, I think we're going to have probably 3 or 4 bidders on this, and I do think it will be very cost beneficial to the district and our employees.
No other questions? What are the wishes of the board then?
I've moved to approve the RFP for the near site clinic.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Beal. We have a second.
Second.
Mr. Horn seconds it. Any questions, comments, discussions? One more time. Seeing none, Ms. Silva, please call roll.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is future meeting date, September 18th, regular school board meeting, 5:30 PM, City Hall. September 18th, budget hearing, same night at 6 o'clock at City Hall. October 2nd, regular school board, 5:30 PM, City Hall. October 9th, student achievement, 5 PM at the Brave Center. October 16th, regular school board, 5:30 PM, City Hall. There's some discussion on that one. We may move that to the new high school for a tour, depending upon the weather. So we'll probably give you an update probably at the next meeting where we're at with that, if that's okay with everybody. And then October 23rd, policy and personnel, 5 PM, Brave Center. Is there any other meetings that should be brought before the committee? If not, this meeting's adjourned. Thanks, everybody.